Good morning, guys. In the last class, we have completed the development for AR API. Yesterday evening also we had the class. Okay. And we completed AR API. In the yesterday's morning session, we completed admin API. And in the yesterday evening session, we completed our development for AR. AR nothing but application registration. After the AR API, we are going for DC. DC stands for data collection. When the citizen registered in our application, citizen identity will be verified. If citizen is valid, that means if the citizen belongs to RI state, for that citizen, one application will be created. Okay. Once the application is created, then citizen can apply for the plans in our IES application. To apply for the plans in the IES application, for the citizen, we need to collect that. From the citizen, we need to collect the data. To collect the data from the citizen, we are having data collection module. In the data collection module, if you observe, we are having plan selection, which plan citizen want to apply. Once the plan selection completed, we need to capture income data from the citizen. We need to capture education data from the citizen. We need to capture kids data from the citizen. Whatever the data we captured, we will display the information for the review purpose for the summary. Then we will confirm. Then finally, eligibility determination will be starting for that citizen. Okay, now we need to develop DC API in our project. So DC stands for data collection. DC API development. Right? First of all, in order to develop this DC API, which tables that we are going to communicate here, IES users table, which will contain the caseworker information, which plans we are going to use, IES plans table, IES apps table. Okay. Then next one, DC plan selection table will be available. Okay. Then DC income table will be available. DC income table we need to communicate, right? DC income table is required. Then next one, DC education table is required. And the next one, DC kids table is required. So as part of our DC API, we need to communicate with all these tables, right? Plan selection, which plan the user is selecting, that plan information we need to store into one table. That's where DC plan selection table will be available. Now, I think we have already noted down what is the table name for that. So DC plan selection table will be available. What is the purpose of DC plan selection? It is used to store which plan the user is selecting. Okay. Then after plan selection, income details, citizen income data we need to capture and we need to store the income data. Then next one, education data. We need to take the education information and we need to store. Kids data. One citizen can have more than one kid. All the kids data we need to store into database. Then summary. What is income, citizen education, citizen kids data we need to display in the summary screen. Summary screen is basically retrieve the data which we have stored previously and display here. So these are the tables that are related to DC module. DC plan selection, DC income, DC education, DC kids. DC stands for data collection. When the citizen want to apply for a plan, we need to collect the information from the citizen. And this information is collected by which caseworker? That citizen caseworker data will be available in the user table. Citizen want to apply for which plan? That is available in the plans table. So what is the citizen case number? It is available in the apps table. So these are the tables that we are going to use in our API development. And for every table, one entity class and one repository we need to create. So the step one, set up entities and repositories. Some entities already we have created. The remaining entities we need to create. Set up entities and repositories. Set up entities and repositories in our application. Then step two, create binding classes. We need to capture the form data. So all that form data we need to take from the UI, and from the backend we need to give the response to the UI. From the UI we need to take the request. For that we need to create our binding classes. Then after we are going to create service interface. Okay, it is just a data storing, guys. Taking the data from the form and storing in the database table. Service interface and implementations. Service interface and implementations. Then step 4, create REST controller. Create REST controllers which are required for our application. Let me create one project. Go to start.spring.io. I want to create project by using Maven, Java, boot version 2.7.4, in.Ashok IT. Let me go for 03 DC API and package name in.Ashok IT. I'm using packaging type jar, Java version 8. Dependencies. So what are the dependencies? DevTools dependency and web dependency we are adding. Then security dependency we are adding. Actuator dependency we are adding. Spring Boot actuator dependency, data JPA dependency, and MySQL dependency. MySQL driver. So DevTools, web, security, actuator, data JPA, and MySQL. So this API is only used to collect the data from the citizen and store citizen data into database table. Click on generate. The project is getting created and it is downloading in the form of zip file. Let us go to this zip file, extract it. Meanwhile, let me open my workspace. Okay, the project is downloaded as a zip. Let me import this zip file. Okay, so for this, let me go and extract the war file, DC API war, jar file. Now take this project, keep this project in our workspace folder. 23 JRTP workspace folder is available. Now DC API is there. Let us import that project into IDE. File import, existing Maven project, browse, DC API. Click on finish. So I'm able to import this DC API into our IDE. Once the DC API is imported, we need to set up entities and repositories. As I told you, we are going to deal with all these entities in our project. Okay, DC API. Now, start class is available, which is having base package to run our application. So along with this, we need a entities package, right? New package in dot Ashok IT dot entities. And similarly, repositories package we need to store the repositories. So this is repeated thing we are doing for every API. Okay, binding classes, bindings, then service, then REST controller, exception, right? Got it. Then constants, properties, whatever is required. Constants, no emails, nothing here. Just we need to capture the data and we need to store the data. That's it. Data capturing and storing. Taking the data from the form and storing to database table. Only that logic we need to do. Now, coming to entities. Already we have few entities created. Same entities we are going to use. App entity, plan entity, user entity. I'm not going to create them again. They are already available in the previous project. We can copy them. App entity, which will represent IES applications. Plan entity, which will represent IES plans. User entity, which will represent IES users. So out of 7, 3 entities are already available. Similarly, the repositories also will be available. App repository, user repository. Coming to the repositories, app repository which is used to communicate with the apps table. User repository, which is used to communicate with the users table. All right. So these things are already available. Next one, coming to the config, the Swagger config class is already available in the previous project. We can reuse that. So let me create one package called new package in.ashokit.config package. So in the config package, Swagger config class we can add. Already we created Swagger config. Let us add that. For the Swagger, dependencies are required, right? Let us take the Swagger dependencies from here. Let us add that in the DC API also. Whatever the Swagger dependencies are available, let me add them in the DC API as well. That's it. So from the previous project, I copied 3 entities, 2 repositories, and I copied Swagger configuration class as well. Now, we need to create remaining things which are required for this project. In the repositories, entities are there. Plan repo we need to create. Plan repo already available in the admin API. Let us take it from there. Plan repo is available. Same thing we are going to use in this project as well. Plan repository is available here. Perfect. Good. So as of now, we have not done anything new. We have used existing classes and existing interfaces. Config, Swagger config, it is common in any project. Then coming to this one, entities. These are 3 entities already available in the previous project. Repositories, these are also available in the previous project. Apart from this, we need to create plan selection entity, income entity, education entity, and kids entity. All right. So let us create the remaining entity classes. New class, plan selection entity, right? The next one, income entity, new class, which is called income entity, right? The next one is education entity and kid entity. New class, education entity, then kid entity. Right. So total 7 entity classes because our DC API is going to talk with 7 tables. For 3 tables already entities are available. For 4 tables we have created the entities. One is plan selection entity and next one is user entity, then kid entity, income entity, education entity. We need to represent them as entity classes. We can do that in the offline, guys. So you can add it. I will make those changes and I will push that code to the GitHub repository. So basic structure I'm preparing now. For these things, repository should be created. New interface, plan selection repo. It is extending from JPA repository. Extends from JPA repository. Let us give plan selection entity, not plan entity, plan selection entity, that is integer. Right. Similarly, income repository, new interface, income repository we need to create, and education repository, kid repository, new repository. We need to create a repository for kid to store the kids information to the table. A kid repository we are creating. So total 4 repositories got created, right? Plan selection repo, income repo. To make it as a repository, extends from JPA repository. So this is for kid entity is available. And ID, that is an integer. The next one, education repository. We need to extend from JPA repository, right? Education entity. And the primary key is the integer, right? Similarly, income repository. Let us extend the properties from JPA JPA repository. Income entity is available and primary key type is integer for that. So with this, our entities and repositories are ready. Good. So it's very basic thing. What are the tables that we want to communicate with our DC API? For all the tables, entities available and repositories also available. Next step, create binding classes. Now, if you observe, what are the binding classes are required for the DC API? What are the binding classes are available for DC API? Plan selection, case number and plan name will come in the request. Income data will come in the request. Education data will come in the request. Kids data will come in the request. And the summary screen is the response. So summary screen will display all the data we have entered. Plan selection, income, education, kid. So here you can add more than one kid at a time. Multiple kids can be added at a time. Summary screen is used to display all the citizen data we collected before going to determine the eligibility. For the confirmation, we are going to display all the citizen information. Clear, guys? Now, so take 2 minutes of time, think of it and tell me how many binding classes we need to create. Tell me how many binding classes we need to create. Guys, come on. Can you tell me how many binding classes we need to create for the completed DC API? For completed DC API, how many binding classes we need to create? Take 2 minutes of time. Come on, guys. How many binding classes we need to create for this? One binding class is sufficient, Pawan. Can we do this implementation with only one binding class? Or do we need to create multiple binding classes? Come on, guys. How many binding classes are required? Okay. First one, for the plan selection, case number and plan name will be selected. So plan ID will go to the backend. So plan selection with the case number and plan name. Plan selection and plan name. Do we need a binding class for the plan selection? Whatever the case number is available, what is the plan name and who supplied for this? So for that, I'm going to create one binding class with a name called plan selection. New class, I'm going to specify this as a plan selection. In the plan selection, we are going to take private integer case number. What is the case number is selected? Private integer, what is the plan selected? Private integer user ID, which user selected this plan. Got my point. What is the case number? What is the plan ID? And which case worker is doing this plan selection for the citizen? So that information we need to maintain in one binding class. That class is called plan selection class. Which case worker is logged in to apply for the plan, that case number, that citizen case number, which plan selected that particular plan ID, and which case worker is doing that user ID we will get. So for these things, we are going to write setters and getters. For these things, we are going to write setters and getters. Then after plan selection completed, go for income details. We need to have a class to capture income data. New class income data. Okay, in the income data, what is required? Again, in the income, case number will come, and this income data selected by which citizen, which caseworker, that caseworker ID. Then private, we are going to specify salary income. Private salary income, it may be in the double. Salary income will be available. Rent income will be available. Private double rent income will be available, and private double property income will be available. Clear, guys? Monthly, what is the salary income? Monthly, what is the rent income? Monthly, what is the property income? Case number, user ID, salary income, rent income, property income will be available. So for these things, let us generate the setters and getters, right? So what is the citizen income data? This is created by which case worker and which case number income this is. This income belongs to which case number, and this information storing by which case worker, salary income, rent income, property income, that we are going to capture by using income class. Next one, go for education. So there is a class we need to create with a name called education. So here also same process. We need case number, creating by which user, education data. What is the highest degree? Private string highest degree. Okay. Then graduation year, private integer graduation year, right? And university name, private string university name, uni name. From which university they are completing their education. From which university they completed their education, we can get it from university name. Case number, this is belongs to which citizen, right? Which citizen education information this is. And this information is storing by which case worker. And the form data, highest degree, graduation year, university name will come. So this is a binding class to capture education data. This is a binding class to capture education data. Perfect. Similarly, we need one more class to represent kid data. Okay, kid is available. So now this kid information is adding for which case number and which user is adding this, and kid data. So what kid data will be there? Kid name, kid age, kid SSN. Instead of age, we are going to take DOB, right? Kid data birth. Private string kid name, private local date, kid DOB, kid DOB, private, long, kid SSN, right? Kid name, kid DOB, kid SSN we are taking, and this kid information belongs to which case number, and this is adding by which user, right? That user ID information will be available here. So this is representing one kid information. But in our application, one kid will be available, or in our application, multiple kids will be available. One citizen will have only one kid, or one citizen will have multiple kids. Guys, one citizen can have one kid, or one citizen can have multiple kids. One citizen will have one kid, or one citizen will have multiple kids here. One citizen can have multiple kids here. Okay. So for that, I'm going to take one more binding class with a name called kids. In the kids class, we can specify private list of kid. Okay. Kids list like this. Kids list will be available. All these kids are belongs to one case number and adding by one case worker. So all the kids belongs to case number who is adding by one user, and list of kids can be available. That's why I'm taking a kid. Kid class will represent one kid data. That kids class will represent all these kids belongs to which citizen for which case number, and these are added by which case worker. So here you need to be more technical to understand this. So if you take just kid class, that will represent only one kid data. But when we are collecting the data from the citizen, one citizen can have more than one kid information. Okay, one citizen can have more than one kid information. That's why I'm taking two binding classes. One is a kid class, second one is kids class. Guys, are you able to do this analysis? Taking a kid class to represent the kid information, kids class to represent the list of kids belongs to particular case number. Are you able to do this analysis? Are you guys able to do this analysis? Do you understand why I am taking kid class and kids class separately? Are you able to understand why I'm taking kid class and kids class separately? Kid class can represent one kid information, kid name, kid DOB, and kid SSN. Kids class will represent all the kids who are belongs to a particular case number. And these kids are adding by which is citizen, user ID, nothing but case worker ID. And this is the case number. And these are the list of kids. These are the list of kids. Kid.java and kids.java. Pramod asking, please explain. What I am doing from last 5 minutes, man. I'm explaining why I'm taking two classes. When you go for a data collection, are you going to add the kids one by one, or you will add multiple kids at a time? When you go for the data collection, are you going to add the kid one by one, or you will be adding multiple kids at a time? Are we going to add the kid one by one, or you will add multiple kids at a time? You will add multiple kids at a time. So that's why I have taken one class called kids, which can take a list of kids at a time, belongs to a particular case number. Kids list is available here. Kids. Kid class will represent one kid. Kids will represent a list of kids belongs to case number. Understood? I have taken one class called plan selection. What is the purpose of plan selection? plan selection class will represent three variables. So which case number, which plan selected, which case worker adding this information. So three fields will come from the DC plan selection screen. Case number, the plan which is selected by the citizen, and which case worker adding the data. These three information will come from the UI, so that I'm mapping them to plan selection. Then next one, if you go to income data we need to capture. To capture income data, I'm taking a class called income class, case number, user ID, salary income, rent income, property income. This income is belongs to which case number and which is citizen data we are capturing based on the case number, and which case worker adding the data for that user ID. User ID is the case worker ID who is capturing this data from the citizen. Kid data, one citizen can have more than one kid. That's why to represent one kid data, we are taking kid class. But in the screen, if you observe, for the citizen, more than one kid can be available. All the kids data we want to add at a time. For that, all the kids I'm representing by using kids.java. List of kids available. This list of kids belongs to which case number, that means which is citizen, and this information is adding by which case worker. That data I'm taking in the kids class. Similarly, if you go for education, case number, this education data belongs to which citizen, that case number we are adding. This education information storing by which case worker, and citizen education data we are capturing. Citizen education data we are capturing. All right, guys. And next one, once this information is completed, we need to go for summary screen. What is the summary screen? Summary screen will display complete information. Now, we need to create one more binding class with a name called DC summary. We need to create one more binding class with a name called DC summary. What is the meaning of DC summary? DC summary is a screen which will display all the information that we have collected. DC summary is a screen which will display all the information that we have collected. Are you guys getting my point? Are you guys getting my point? DC summary screen will display all the information that we have captured as of now. So DC summary will represent income details, private income, whatever the income data is available, we need to represent income data. We need to represent private education data, private kids information, kids class will be available. Okay. Now, in the summary screen, we should be able to show the income data. We should be able to show the education data. We should be able to show the kids data. So one more binding class I'm taking, that is a summary screen, which will display all the information. So to develop this DC API, I'm taking total 6 binding classes. So to develop this DC API, we are taking total 6 binding classes. Are you clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? In the kids class, setters, getters. Right? In the kid class also, setters, getters. In the income class also, setters, getters. Education, setters, getters. Summary, setters, getters. Plan selection, setters, getters. Now, do you understand what is the DC summary screen, summary class that I'm creating? What is the DC summary class I'm creating? Are you guys able to understand? Summary screen will represent all the data we collected. What is the income of the citizen? What is the income of the citizen? What is the education of the citizen? What are the kids information available? Everything we collected and we are representing in the summary object. Final review. So once the citizen data collection is completed, which plan citizen want to apply? What is income of the citizen? Education of the citizen? Kids of the citizen? Once everything is completed, before going to determine the eligibility, a confirmation page is available, which is used to display the summary, complete summary of the citizen, information whatever we collected. Then finally we will confirm. Then we will go to eligibility determination. Okay. Do you understand what is the summary screen now? Guys, do you understand what is summary screen now? Perfect. Anybody not able to understand the binding classes creation, plan selection, income, education, kids, and summary? Are we able to create these binding classes? Yes. Next one, we need to go for service to store all this information. Here guys, you can create multiple services, income service, education service, kids service, plan service, something like that. But only one operation, no need to create multiple services. Simply we can create one service and we can write the methods. Let us go to service, new interface. I am going to create a service with a name called DC service. So in the DC service, we need to identify the methods. What methods we need to write for the DC API? What methods we need to write for the DC API? We need to identify. First one, plan selection. Save the citizen plan selection. From this screen, plan selection data will come. We should write one method for saving the plan selection. Public Boolean save plan selection. That information we will get from plan selection binding class. Public Boolean save plan selection object we will get. Then income. Simple, we need to save the income data. Simple, we need to save the income data. Public Boolean save income. Income data we will get from the binding object called income. There is a income binding class we created, which will give the information. That information we need to set to the entity and we need to save it. Similarly, we will get the education data. Simple, we need to write public Boolean save education. We will take education object as a parameter. Education data will come in the form of a binding object. That data we need to save education. Then kids, save kid. Multiple kids can come. So public Boolean save kids. So here I'm taking the kids object as a parameter because kids object will represent list of kids, belongs to particular case number, belongs to particular user ID. So in the service, I'm taking kids as a parameter. It will represent list of kids, save kids. Then after saving the kids, summary, fetch the summary information, public DC summary, public DC summary, and fetch summary info. This summary information belongs to which citizen, that citizen case number we need. This summary information belongs to which citizen, that citizen case number is required. Based on the case number, we can get the income data, we can get the education data, we can get the kids data. So if I don't take the case number as a parameter, we cannot identify the particular citizen data. So in the income table, in the education table, kids table, plan table, information will be stored based on the case number. So once all the information is stored, for the review purpose, I need to get the information back. For that, I need a case number. So these are the methods we need to write in the DC service. These are the methods we need to write in the DC service. Save plan selection. When citizen information is collected by the case worker. Plan selection, okay, your case number, which plan you want to apply, CCAP, submit. Then this method will be called to store that citizen data, case plan data, which plan the citizen selected in the database table. After this, it will come to income. Okay, tell me what is your income. Collect the income data. Then this method will be called to save the income data. To save the income data. After collecting the income data, go for education. So collect the education details. Store the education details into table using save education, right? Then collect the kids data. So here they can have more than one kid. Collect the kids data and store the kids data into table. After kids data is collected, we need to get the summary. Whatever the information we collected, all the information we should get back and we need to display. For that, fetch summary info is available. Here, one more thing we need to do. For the plan selection, if you see, plan names are coming from the database. In the drop down, data should come from the database. So we should write one method here, public map integer comma string get plans. Okay, whatever the plans which are available in our system, those plans we should give to the UI so that it can display the plan information in the drop down. It will display plan information in the drop down. Plans are not hard coded. When you go for the plan selection, the plans are not hard coded. Plans should come from the database table. Admin will create the plans. The plans information will be stored into IES plans table. When it comes to the plan selection, so we need to retrieve the plans from the database and we need to display in the dropdown. To retrieve the data for the dropdown, there is one method, get plans. Integer string, plan ID, plan name. I will display in the dropdown. Plan ID and plan name will display in the dropdown. To get the data for the plans, we are getting that one. And any other dropdown available? In the education, yes, there may be a dropdown. Graduation year, the number of years you can display them in the UI, no problem. The years are hard-coded values, no need to fetch from the backend. This dropdown data we can hard-code in the UI. University name, degree, these are text fields. So kids data, there is no drop. So in our screen, there is only one drop-down. That drop-down should display the data from the DB. So to get the data for the drop-down, we are writing one method, public map get plans method, which will retrieve the data and it will display the data in the drop. From the backend, we are getting that data. So total we are writing 6 methods. Total we are writing 6 methods. Are you guys able to understand the 6 methods we are writing? Are you guys able to understand the 6 methods we are writing? Total 6 tasks available for that. Okay. So display the drop-down data, plan selection, income data, education data, kids data, then summary data. So to perform the DC operations, we need to write these 6 methods. I'm not taking separate services for income, education, kids because just one operation we need to perform. Just we need to save the data. So that's why I'm not taking. Whereas in the admin API, I have taken account service, user service, plan service. Sir, you may ask a doubt. Sir, in the admin, for every functionality you have taken a separate service, but in the DC, you are doing everything in the single service. What is the reason? In the admin, for every functionality, multiple operations are available. So if you go for admin, that is called maturity, guys. When to take multiple services, when to take single service, that maturity is required. When you go for admin, create account. In the create account, view accounts, there are multiple functionalities are available. When you go for create plan and view plans, there are multiple functionalities are available. In the user management, login, profile, forgot password, multiple functionalities are available. So instead of doing all those things in one service, I have created multiple services in the admin API. But whereas in the DC, I'm creating only one service: plan selection, income, education, kids, summary. Because if I take income service, how many operations are there in the income? Just one operation to save the data. So just to perform one operation, you no need to write a separate service. Guys, are you clear? Now, DC service we have identified. DC service we have identified. Get plans, plan selection, save income, save education, save kids, fetch summary information. Okay. Are you clear? Now the task is, you people should implement these methods. Now task is, you people should implement these methods, guys. Okay. First of all, is your analysis matching with my analysis in the DC? Is your analysis matching with my analysis in DC? You can, if you create separate services also, no problem. But here it is not required. The reason is only one method we need for that. Only one method we need for that. Let me create a Git repository in the GitHub. I will push this code, guys. I want you to take this code and do the gap. Wherever the gap is available, you need to fill that gap. You need to implement this. IES DC API. I want to push this code into repository, Git repository. Git bash. Right? Git init. Git add -a. Git commit -m. I'm doing my initial commit. Let me add the branch for this. Default one is a main. And git remote add git push origin main. Got it? I'm pushing my code to Git repository for this DC API. You guys can take this code. You guys can take this code, and wherever the analysis is not matching, you can correct it. And can you come up with implementation of these methods? Guys, today, daytime, can you come up with implementation of these methods? I will also do the implementation of these methods before coming to today evening session. I will come up with the implementation of these methods before coming to today's evening session, 9:30 p.m. So today we need to complete this DC API. I want you people to come up with the implementation. You do the implementation. Wherever the analysis is not matching, you can correct it. So try to implement these methods before coming to evening class. Just you need to write the save method. That's it. There is no much logic here. There is no much logic here. So today evening at 9:30 p.m., I will finish the implementation for REST controller and all that stuff. Okay, good, fine. Thank you. I'm stopping now. I have pushed my code into Git repository. Whatever the code we have created, I want you to complete this implementation for this service layer. I will do this implementation before coming to evening session. Evening, we will work on the REST controller part for the DC. DC should be completed by today. Good. Anyone having any questions? You can unmute and you can ask me. Anybody having any questions, guys?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, good morning. This is Pramod.
Yes, sir, tell me.
Sir, in the role based means in admin module we have not implemented the role and privileges. Later we'll do, or
We will do that, sir. We'll do. That means, so whenever the user is logged in, so in the UI, we will disable that admin menu option for the UI. Okay. So when you go for this application, when case worker logged in, this menu will not come. When the admin login, this menu will come. That is the reason in the admin API, we made those changes, right? Whenever we are getting the dashboard, if you go to service or if you go to REST controller, user REST controller, when user logged in successfully, we are redirecting to the dashboard. So in the dashboard redirection, dashboard card going as a JSON response to the UI. In this, it will understand which user is logged in. Based on the user information, in the UI, we will write a condition whether to display this menu or no need to display this menu. In the UI, we will make that change. Already, I'm sending user data in the dashboard card object when the user login is successful.
okay. One more question I have, sir.
Yep.
In the AR module, we have retrieved the data by ID, and we have and getting the ID from the database. In that case, if ID is not available, so that we'll get the null pointer exception, right?
Yes, we need to handle that exception. Yes, if the ID is not available, definitely that ID should be available. Why ID will not be available? Whenever you go for view applications, whatever the records available, those records only will display here. ID should not be null. It will not be null. Always data should be there for that.
We have to handle that, right? By optional class.
Yes, we can handle that by using optional class.
Okay, right, sir.
Good.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, at the service level, do we need to validate any? We need to validate any
Validating means?
Whenever we perform service level operations, so do we need to validate the data?
If you want to check some validations, you can do it. Suppose, for example, the date of birth, the citizen's date of birth should not be above that condition. The plan related conditions will be there in the eligibility module. Today, once we complete the DC, then we will see how to validate that data.
Sir,
Yep, sir.
Sir, what is the functionality of confirm button in summary screen?
Sir, confirm button in the real time, what will happen, right? Once they confirm, that means they are agreeing for that, whatever the data that they have given that is correct, then they will click on confirm. Then it will go to eligibility determination. Suppose if there is any changes in the data, in the real time, edit option will be available to modify the data. But here, I have not added that edit option. Okay. So whatever the data you entered, by mistake, your income is entered incorrectly. When it comes to the summary screen, you observed that your income is entered incorrectly. Then you want to modify. In the real application, edit functionality will be there to edit the data. They will edit and confirm. Then they will come back and see, okay, everything is correct. Then they will go for confirm. If they don't go for confirm, that eligibility determination screen will not display further.
We have to implement again update methods, right?
Yes, we need to write edit, and if you add edit, then update, we need to do it. I have not given that screen here.
Okay, right, sir.
Yeah, as I told you, complete real-time application we cannot develop.
Okay, sir.
All right, good guys, thank you.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Sir, please can you upload to AWS notes, sir, on the site?
Yes, sir. By today evening, I will do that. If I forgot, so in the evening class, please remind me once. I will do it. It is there in another laptop. I will do it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And sir, the Kafka video link, sir, you forget to share,
Yeah.
sir.
Sure.
Sir, mark screens we want, sir.
Mock screens. I think that S3 bucket is deleted. I will upload this once again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. We'll meet in the evening 9:30 p.m. Please work on the DC API before coming to evening class.